A draft day trade between the Detroit Lions and the New York Jets went under the radar, but we need to put another magnifying glass on that because that trade could mean something else coming in the future. We discussed those possibilities and opportunities, with the Jets potentially making another splash.
It is unequivocally the Super Bowl for New York Jet fans.
Field Yates, baby. Field gosh darn Yates. Let's bring him on the show.
Come on, people. Connor Rogers is joining the show. What's up, Connor? But Trevor gosh darn Sycamore, baby, for me, personally, my favorite New York Jet of all time.
Wow, it's great to be on. What an intro that was right there.
Paul, nobody does an intro like you, man.
Paul, you give the best intro of literally any podcast that I've ever seen.
I'm gonna lose my gosh darn bananas.
Good morning, and what's poppin', everybody? Paul Esdin Jr., a.k.a. Boy Green. I'm the New York Jets digital reporter for Heavy.com. Welcome to Boy Green Daily, a daily New York Jets video show, also available wherever you get your podcasts. Simply search for Boy Green Daily for the audio-only version shortly after the episode is off the air. Thanks for joining us here on a Sunday, and boy, there's something that we needed to investigate a little bit further. We have a full article in the YouTube description down below, which talks about the possibilities and specifically what we could be talking about. So what is the Jets-Lions trade? In case you missed it in the middle of the draft, the Jets flipped one of their fours in 2024, the draft that just happened, for a 2025 3. So they jumped up around, but they kicked the can down the road. This is a trade for the future. Or is it? How much in the future are we talking about? I think there's one of two clear possibilities here with this pick. Okay, either the Jets can flip this third they got for the Lions for a veteran player to help now, or we could wait all the way till next April, package the 2 3s. The Jets have 2 extra picks currently in that draft. They have 2 extra 3s and 2 extra 6s. Okay, so they have a little bit of extra capital potentially to do something with. Now, one of the simple things they could do is package the 2 3s to get into the 2, but that won't be a conversation until next offseason. So that could be possible. Or they could flip this 3 for a veteran, having a primo asset. Premium assets in the draft are considered anything in the top 3 rounds. First round pick, second round pick, third round pick. And the Jets have their own first, they have their own second, and they got a pair of thirds. They got a lot of ammo to potentially pull off another move. And one of the other moves that some people believe they could do is for a veteran player. More on that in just a second, but I do want to go to a video clip, some footage. You guys should check out the full interview on NewYorkJets.com. Go into their video section. You can find it. Joe Douglas sat down with Jets senior reporter Eric Allen. They went through all the decisions in the draft for like a 30-minute pod. There's some juicy stuff in there. Hopefully you guys can check it out. And they talk about the draft picks, the trades, the everything. And I've shared a couple of clips on social media. And during that conversation, EA asked Joe Douglas about that trade, that savvy move to turn a 4 this year into a 3 next year, what it could mean. Let's roll the footage.
Can you talk about the value of bringing back a 3rd-round pick in that deal that you guys had with the Lions?
Yeah, that was that was unique. I mean, because just a few minutes before, Miami had done a trade with Philadelphia, where it was a 4th-round pick for next year's 3.
Right.
And a few minutes passed, I looked over at Nick Sabella and Dave Sosi on our football admin team. I was like, man, I wish someone would call and offer us something like that. And lo and behold, about 5 minutes later, Detroit calls, and they made a similar offer. And, again, if you have a guy that you're excited to get, be aggressive and go get them. And so that's what Detroit did. They highlighted their guy. They made an aggressive offer, and they went up and got their guy. And in return, we feel like that 3rd-round pick has legitimate value for us next year. And you'd like to think with that pick, you can locate a starter to help your team.
You're setting yourself up for more flexibility in 25 already, because you have 2 3s and 2 6s.
That's right.
That's right. That's right. You do have 2 3s and 2 6s. Now, it could help you next year. Could be a 2025 conversation. We're talking about the 2025 NFL draft. We're doing mock drafts, and the Jets have an extra third. Or maybe they make a win now move. Now, if you think about the 2024 NFL draft in a nutshell, it was a lot of depth, a lot of things for the future. There were some immediate insurance policies. Talked about Olu Fashanu. That makes sense, just in case of Tyron. But some of these other, things are insurance policies. The only one who's probably going to make an immediate impact, guarantee, is Malachi Corley, who's projected as the starting slot receiver for the New York Jets at this point. But, we'll kind of see. What the Jets could do is get one more piece to the puzzle. And I know this is a concept that's kind of split among the fan base, but on the surface, the wide receiving core is better than last year. Of course, you added Mike Williams, you added a rookie, looks better. But if you really start to squint at the wide receiving core, there's a lot of cracks in the foundation. Let's go to wide receiver 2, Mike Williams. I've been beating this horse senseless, this dead horse. And it's that Mike Williams has a quote-unquote long way to go from his ACL recovery, and he's only on a 1-year deal anyway. So, what Mike Williams are we going to get this year? When is he going to be fully healthy? And even if he gets ready right before the season, how long is it going to take him to get in football shape and everything else? So, a lot of TBD there with Mike Williams. He's wide receiver 2. After wide receiver 2, we move over to wide receiver 3. That's Malachi Corley. Now, Malachi Corley is exciting, but wide receiver 3, he was called by Robert Saleh, the rookie minicamp day one presser, as a raw route runner. And they're going to be working on that with him. Well, unless this is the greatest offensive coaching staff in history, they're probably not going to go bippity boopity bop. All of a sudden you can run routes. So that's going to require orchestrated touches. Now, can Nathaniel Hackett be there for creatively for those orchestrated touches? I don't know. Hopefully it won't matter. Hopefully Aaron Rodgers just does that part of the equation. But Malachi Corley will need help to maximize his full potential. So Garrett Wilson, he's a superstar, obviously. He's going to be phenomenal. But that's one man. You go to wide receiver 2. Questions. Mike Williams, when does he come back? Wide receiver 3. Raw route runner. That's a tongue twister. But then what are you going to do? Up in the air. And then all of a sudden we're at wide receiver 4. Alan Lazard, who, let's be honest, had an absolutely abysmal debut with the New York Jets in year 1. Looks like he's probably going to be here unless the Jets grenade his contract, which is still possible. I'd leave that door open potentially, where the Jets eat a bunch of the money, send him off to Siberia, and then they open up a possibility which could lead to Corey Davis potentially. Maybe that's a move that could make sense because there's a little bit of a rub there with the Alan Lazard and Corey Davis thing, and it could be a little bit of a thing. So you could do that potentially to bring Corey Davis back into the fold. But long story short, the wide receiving core, which it's kind of like that trash bag commercial, hefty, wimpy. On the surface, it looks hefty, but if you do a deeper dive, bring the glasses a little closer to the bridge of the nose, you're like, whoa, wait a second here. Might be a little wimpy. So you just want a little bit of juice. You want to hope for the best, but prepare for the worst. And boy, if the receiving core is exactly as we talked about, and then you take a step back and say, boy, if Garrett gets hurt, all of a sudden our wide receiver 1 is some combination of hurt, compromised Mike Williams, Malachi Corley, raw route runner Alan Lazard. All of a sudden, doesn't it take a different tenor? Doesn't it suddenly take a different tone? Just something to think about. Plus, by the way, before I get into some specific names we could be talking about here, which there's some spicy names in the article, I asked the great fans underneath that Joe Douglas video I just showed you, I asked the fans, what is more likely to happen? Again, you pair the 2/3 for a future second, you do that in 2025, or a veteran trade for right now. And we had nearly 1,000 votes. And it was nearly 50-50, 53% slight lean to the veteran, and that's where I'm leaning. I believe this is for a veteran move. We get closer to the trade deadline, and the Jets can make a splash. I prefer that splash even earlier, quite frankly, but maybe if you go closer to deadline, first off, other names start to shake free. We'll talk about that in a second. And then you have a better scope and understanding of your roster. Like, oh boy, wow, Mike Williams really isn't the same right now at this point. Boy, this or that, which could lead to some splash names. And shout out to Bleach Report. They're also featured in the article down below because the Jets were named as a potential suitor for all of the sexy wide receivers that might become available. And the list included Cincinnati Bengals wideout T. Higgins, both San Francisco 49ers playmakers, Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk. I'll be honest, I don't want any part of Deebo Samuel because we basically have our own version of that in Malachi Corley. But Brandon Ayuk would be super interesting. So I'd be interested in Ayuk or T. Higgins. And of course, the Moby Dick that I've been hunting, out in the universe is Davante Adams, baby. And that's the one I'm hunting and go get closer to the trade deadline. The Raiders sack, and then all of a sudden, like, we might as well flip this guy. Now, Matthias says in here, our problem is money cap space, but I think there are a few moves. There's a few break the glass emergencies right here where you can tap into that. And what are those tap into? The Quinn Williams contract hasn't been touched yet. He's here long term, so you can mess around with anything to create money there. There's a few of those contracts on the team that all of a sudden you could do a slight adjustment, which will open up a ton of cap space for the now in this move, which could open up the cap space. I know everyone's saying we have zero cap space right now. We have enough cap space for all our moves right now because let's see, the last time I checked, let's get a update on the Jet salary cap space. We have it here from Over the Cap. 1 second here as it loads. I'm pretty sure I saw the Jets at, they have $9 million in cap space right now. So it's not nothing. It's $9 million in cap space, but that's enough for signing your draft class and a few moves like that. That's our current salary cap situation, which, by the way, is, let me see where it stands in the NFL, but they have 9 million shekels right now, which is 32, 31, 30, 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22. They're 21st in the league in cap space right now from Over the Cap. So they have 9 million. But you can get funky if you need to make additional money. Like I said, the Quinn Williams contract you could touch and create a bunch of cap space now. This is a win now thing. So you can shift stuff into the future and make it happen. I know we got some big deals and decisions to make, but if you can swim, if you can dive into the deep end of the pool to get another move, the moves are there to be had. The Jets have the assets. They could create the money, and we could get a little freaky. So let's get that. Dave says, how many of the 53 roster spots are currently under contract? I would say all of them outside of this splash would be the best way to say that. Maybe there's another veteran or two in the summer. Joe Douglas has been, notorious for Morgan Moses in June or a Dalvin Cook or something like that. So there's a chance for a late splash of that number. So that's possible. Snowball says, now that the 17 is gone, because Malachi Corley took number 17, the door is closed. We can make it happen. He can learn. He could get a new number. He can learn Guatemalan. But Davante would be a fun move. Matthias says, after you sign rookies, you do not have enough. That's why I'm saying there's more moves to be made. Quinn Williams, his contract has not been touched yet. That could create an unbelievable amount of money immediately by shifting some of his money around. And that's just one move. And there are several the Jets can make with some of their players that they have not touched yet. You could do something with DJ Reed, who has a $15 million cap hit this year. You could get that to a few million, which would open up an additional 10 million if you made a move with him. So whether that's mini extension or this or that, there's a lot of different creative things you could do. So the cap is not a myth, as we saw ritual bloodletting in Buffalo, but you can manipulate the cap to make moves if you want to make the moves. So people, I wouldn't harp too much on that. It's a very affordable number this year for Davante. It's 17 million and change. Now it blows up in the future, and you can make a future decision on that because I don't believe there's guaranteed money in those futures things for Davante. Which, by the way, we could check right now. Let me give a quick Google search on Davante Adams' contract, but I'm pretty sure we got a $17 million cap hit for this year. And then I believe the numbers explode into the future. But at that point, if you didn't want Davante, you could kind of make a one-year-and-done thing or rework a deal. Could make some funky decisions from that standpoint if you wanted to flip it. Or if you prefer one of the other guys, like a T. Higgins, though, would immediately T. Higgins or Brandon Ayuk. The only problem with those two is they'd probably want an immediate contract extension to give them new money, which would be a little aggressive. So that could be something to work with. That kid that didn't Williams get his contract last year? Yeah, let me rephrase. When I say mess around with the contract, he already has an extension, but what you're allowed to do is move money around for his contract so you can kick the can down the road, which creates a ton of cap space immediately. I don't want to gloss over things so people don't understand. So Quentin Williams did get his fat extension last year, but what you can do with contracts is manipulate them and move money around so you owe money in different places, which can open up cap space, when you see restructures where players get their money sooner, but it helps out the team because they can do more things in the immediate. That's what I'm referencing, not like whether or not he should get another extension. Because Avatal, our boy Allen, Connor McGovern's a big one. So center depth, safety, we'll see. I think safety they're super going to wait on, and then we'll see what big names are possibly there as well. And then the other wide receiver, I think that's interesting. And that kid do it. Just learned something new. See, hey, that's what the show's about. Edumacation, baby. That's what we attempt to bring to the table. So there you go. So yeah, Quinnen is signed long term, but there's a lot of things you can do. Like I said, DJ Reed's in the last year of his deal, and he's owed a $15 million cap hit, which is a massive cap hit for this year. But there's a couple of ways you could either, and again, I love DJ Reed, so I hope they give him a mini extension to keep him, and you can lower that number significantly for this year. So his $15 million cap hit can go to, I don't know, I don't have his contract in front of me, but you could push and shove that down all the way to like, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 million, and you open up an additional 10 million to use this year and vice versa. And those are two contract examples, but you could do more than that. And Mitch, yes, I understand that chunk of $9 million they currently have is for rookies. I'm saying, again, additional money can be created with some of their moves. But I would love to see a backup center because I don't love Wes Schweitzer there at backup center right now. I'm going to be honest. Would not like that. Who are we trying to get? Davante? Phil asks on YouTube. I mean, Davante would be fun. Like I said, I'm not interested in Debo. We have our own version, our own very much cheaper version of Debo and Malachi Corley, who's a lot of fun. He's an interesting piece of clay. He's not as good as Debo, obviously. He's got to prove himself. But I'm fine with the Debo thing, so I kind of put him aside. T. Higgins or Brandon Ayuk would be exciting, but I wonder they're going to probably want big new deals immediately. So the Jets would have to figure out that piece of the puzzle. And then Davante, I think he'd just be happy to reunite with his old buddy, Aaron Rodgers. Now, it doesn't seem like you could get him now. The Raiders have committed to that decision, but this is also a potential move ahead of the trade deadline where the Raiders suck. Let's just make a guess and say they're going to suck. They got Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell. Okay. All right. Yeah. Let's see what happens there. Especially in the AFC West with Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert. Like, come on, man. And Zach Wilson in Denver. I mean, come on, people. Where the hell are the Raiders finishing? So all of a sudden they get a dose of harsh reality here as they're getting closer to deadline. Oh boy, we're nowhere near as good as we thought we were. You know what? Davante Adams is an expiring thing on our shelf. The longer we wait, the more his value goes in the plumber. As soon as the age keeps increasing, the Jets come on and we'll say, hey, brother, we can help you. Help us help you. And all of a sudden, boom, Davante Adams on a deal. Booyah, reunited, and it feels so good with Aaron Rodgers. Just saying. Let's kind of put down to the universe. So maybe, the Davante Adams, Jets, Raiders possibility is back alive, baby, back alive. Perhaps. I don't know. Could be something. I'm trying to speak it into existence here. But again, I think the extra capital gives you a little bit of extra movement because the Jets didn't have the second round pick this year and it was all over the place. It really restricted them on potential moves up the board because, as you saw with Joe Douglas, he was trying to move up from 72, which was a pick in the third round, to get Corley. He was calling teams starting at 45 in the second round. And what did the team say if you watched the Flight 24 Jets documentary? We don't want to drop all the way back there. Kick rocks, pal. We don't care what you're offering. So the Jets were met with some hesitancy from teams. However, now that the Jets have their second round pick back for next year, plus an extra third, plus an extra sixth, all of a sudden they got some extra wiggle room where teams are going to be like, oh, whoa, that's kind of interesting. What can you do for me? What was that again? And then all of a sudden we get funky. So just want to throw that out into the universe as something we could talk about. So I'm curious, the fans, we have our 1,000+ fans on Twitter. I know some of our YouTube viewers aren't all on the Twitter sphere, so you guys can feel free to share your thoughts, whether or not you believe it's one or the other, or it could be neither, quite frankly. It could just be the Jets just keep 2 third-round picks. They take 2 third-round guys. Certainly possible as well. as another possibility. Yeah. The Jets suck. Y'all winning 6 games max. Come on, Browns fan. What are we talking about here, man? Alvery. The Jets suck. Okay, pal. All right. We're winning the division, baby. Phil says, who are we trying to get from Detroit? No, this was the trade with Detroit during the draft. It was we picked up an extra third. They took our fourth this year. Oh, Bobby. Hi, Paul, my friend. You're awesome. We love Bobby. Absolutely. Part of the Boy Green Super Fan Club, by the way. See that membership? You can join on YouTube. Feel free. NY Jets FL says Davante would have to be a rental mostly. Yeah, and that's basically how I see it too, to be honest with you. I'm not saying like Davante's here for the next decade. I'm just all about winning right now. I'd be willing to move heaven and earth and make it happen. Let's see. Got a bunch of people in here. Love it. Make sure you guys are liking the video, hitting subscribe. We got 500 people in the room. Appreciate you guys. All right, why don't we just open up the phone lines? Let's just get right to it, baby. Let's do it so people can yell at me and tell me I'm an idiot or agree and jump on the train. Feel free to do that if you'd like as well. If the water's warm, feel free to hop in, baby. That's possible. Feel free. Absolutely. You guys can dip your toe in the water, see if you like it with all this potential trade action, and you can make it yourself. Let's go. Video link to call in is now on YouTube. Let's pin that puppy, and puppy pinned. All right, if you guys would like to join today's show, just be in a relatively quiet place, and I will see you pop up in the green room with your camera on, and we'll bring you on the show, baby. Let me see this Med of Han 94 here. Paul, did you have a chance to watch how the logo on the hat was created? So friggin' cool, Med of On 94. I did. The Jets had a little mini video on it for like 10 minutes. Super cool. I highly recommend, if you guys haven't checked that out, on how this logo was first made and first created. Some really fascinating stuff. So I hope you guys check that out. It's on the New York Jets app and also on their YouTube channel. So I hope you guys can check that out on the logo. It's a really cool behind the scenes. Very, very interesting. And thank you, Jets Afterburners podcast. Great show as always, Paul. And they just had Craig Carton on their show, breaking all kinds of news and whatnot. I don't know if any of that's official yet or anything. All the people talking about a potential Jets move out of Jersey to New York, but we'll see what that is. We'll see what. But shout out on the guest. Very nice. We tweeted that out. All right, let's go to our waving friend here, Bobby, joining us here on the show. What's up, Bobby?
Hey, Paul. Guess what?
Or Bobby.
Jet Afterburners let me talk to Craig Carton yesterday.
Oh, they did? Oh,
yes.
Cool. What'd you talk to him about?
Oh, I talked about, I used to call his show on WFAN all the time. Then he had another show on another channel that, can't remember the one, he did his own show. Carton. Is
that the TV show you're talking about? Isn't it like FS1 or something?
Yeah, wasn't it? No, that's...
Yeah. I don't know what that's called, but...
Yeah, he had one in before that one too on another and he had a good nice co-host. She was very beautiful. You ever hear of Corey Parsons?
I've heard of Chandler Parsons. I don't think I heard of the Corey Parsons.
Well, Corey Parsons was a Dallas Cowgirl fan. So I used to call up and we would talk about he used to ask me, Bobby, you want to come down to the studio and pour some maple syrup all over your body and all that?
What the? Oh, wow.
Yeah, no, he got it crazy stuff. He knows me for a very long time. So when the guy let me talk to him, I was in seventh heaven.
Oh, that's awesome. That's really cool.
I think you're right. I think I hope they do get the veteran like you want. Veteran.
Yeah, baby.
And then Davante Adams might come, maybe, hopefully.
Yeah, I can see it. Again, I think what the Raiders need is a harsh pill of reality. They need to suck. Yeah. So the first month of the season or something, they go 0-4. Then all of a sudden we're like, we call them back, say, you ready to hang up on us now? And they're like, oh, okay, all right. We'll do it. And then boom, Davante Adams.
Yeah, and Jake was on Mad Dog's radio station.
Yeah, I saw that. He was like on for like 4 hours or something yesterday. What a freak.
It was like 4 to 8. I was the first one to call in.
That's cool,
Yeah,
Bobby. You're just a loyal supporter, man. You're a big supporter.
wasn't
We all
lucky, but
appreciate that.
and then there was only one giant created that went on this weekend, and he let me on. Kid Blue 26 run back.
Nice.
And yeah, I haven't talked to that kid in like 2 years.
Oh,
Been a
well,
long time.
that's
Yeah,
okay.
so yeah, I agree with 100% all the way.
All right, I love it.
Tell your
Yeah,
dad I
nice
said
talking to you
hi.
too, Bobby. Let's speak it into existence, baby. Davante Adams to the Jets. Now let's go to another caller who I know will 1,000% be on board with Davante Adams to the Jets. Let's enter the Esden zone here. My father joins us here on a second consecutive day. Do you want to start the chant? Davante Adams, one of us, one of us. Yeah.
I'd like to start off by saying I've sworn off maple syrup for the rest of my life.
Yeah, I have too. I'm just. That's a image. Quite frankly, I didn't want in the brain. I'm getting like, I don't. I actually don't even want to say what I was going to say. Yes, let's just.
So, I'm gonna let Bobby's comment about the 5-time Super Bowl champion Cowboys move on because I like Bobby. So, Bobby, shout out to you.
Okay. So no cowgirls there. Okay, I'm sure. He
Okay,
appreciates
well,
that.
now it's easier for me to say if you wanted somebody to call in and call you an idiot, you're an idiot. All right.
I see.
There is Davante Adams is the wrong move 12 different ways from Sunday. It's going to cause issues. I think that Mike Williams is either going to be the best signing the Jets had this offseason, which is saying a lot, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of additions.
He could be the best signing this offseason, or he could be the biggest blowout we had since Lazard. Right? If he comes in, we got him on a 1-year deal. If he comes in, he doesn't play a third of the games, then what are we doing? And if we didn't really know, right? If we were like, well, just so you know, guys, he may not be that healthy. Well, if we didn't know, why would we sign him?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Normally, again, he had to pass a physical, and obviously the doctors, the Jets had their own doctors. So, and apparently it must have went well because there was on his first free agent visit, Mike Williams was to the Jets, and they didn't let him leave the building. So apparently the medical examination that is a routine for any free agent visit must have went swimmingly from that perspective. So, like I said, Saleh could just be super precautious with his comments from the annual league meeting if he has a long way to go. That's possible.
Yeah, again, I hope it's that way.
Mm-hmm.
I hope it's not that, they were so burned, so many scars from last year, so many flashbacks from last year that they didn't. Maybe he was the OBJ guy, right? That should have not been signed, until OBJ was 2 or 3 years ago, right? He came in with half a dozen games left, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the Jets saw the value. I don't know. But Davante Adams, cap reasons, you have enough questions at wide receiver. You can't commit to a long-term deal. You can't spend all your Easter eggs on that. It'd just be a mess. And you're knowingly asking for an I-75 train wreck, next year. And that is a huge mistake. So they're not going to get Davante Adams. If they did, they shouldn't.
Again, next year's for losers. 2024. It's like the Mayans wrote. It's the end of the year after 2024. I only care about winning the Super Bowl, and then the world's gonna explode. As far as I'm concerned, that's it. So let's do it, baby. Let's do what we can to increase our chances for now. And Davante Adams increases the Jets' chances for now. Even if he's a rental, you bring him back for 1 year, then you flip him and trade him somewhere else after this year. Who gives a flying hoot?
I cannot imagine a world where the Jets we could just say that the Jets have no cap room.
Okay.
Right after they get done moving all the things they need to move and wrapping up all their own business.
And you need your rollover money for anything that happens during the season. Right. The current money they have is kind of accounted for.
You get nothing. So how much would you have to clear if you only get Davante on a 1 year? There's no slopping around his money. There's no monopolizing, putting in the monopoly money. Well, this is fake money that will pay you in 2047. Right. It's going to be real money, real 2024 money. And I don't see how you can clear it. I think it's in the teens of millions of dollars.
His base salary, I have it in front of me, is $16.8 million is his base salary. Yeah.
Right. And well, God forbid there's any incentives there.
But the good news is that it'd be prorated, because if in my scenario, I will be honest, I don't believe the Raiders are going to trade Davante Adams to the Jets today. I don't think that's going to happen. What I do think is possible is, again, if the Raider season starts tanking, the Raiders go, oh, Jesus, like, we're a crappy team and we have this aging player who's awesome, but he can't help us where we're going. Let's flip him while his value is still something. The Jets would be able to prorate that money because that's going to be per game roster bonuses, so it'll be slightly cheaper at that point.
Yeah, I would tell you, I think that strategy is a mistake, right?
Okay.
They need to get the chemistry now. And I really like, and it might be, maybe it was Johnny yesterday that talked about bringing back Cobb, and at least invite him to training camp, right? And then you evaluate with all the cut downs, and even with the expanded practice roster, as I talked about yesterday, you can have him on that's an avenue. I feel by the time the Raiders are ready to give up Davante Adams, it's going to be too late one way or the other. The Jets are not going to need him because Lazard is panned out because he has Ron, and Mike Williams is not hobbled, or they're going to be, in a situation where it's going to be too little too late. If Mike Williams can't play, and Lazard continues to, I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for? Suck. Right?
Yeah.
Then it may be too late to right the ship. That's my concern. They need the Gallup. They need the Chase Claypool. They need one of those players in the room now to augment.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Cobb, because unless for the kids that are coming to Jets training camp, they want to see a fossil at a museum exhibit, then sure, that gives them a little bit of an attraction in July. But that guy's old as hell. Like, I don't want that old bastard in here. And plus, with the chemistry, Davante and Aaron already have the chemistry. It's preordained. It's a pre-existing relationship. It's plug and play, baby.
All right, stand up. Your voice is being muffled because you're talking out of your other orifice. But listen, the other thing that Cobb can do is he can mentor Malachi, right? And that would be invaluable, right? So, and if you have Lazard, because you're going to pay him, you have hopefully a healthy Mike Williams, you have Wilson, then you don't need a Davante Adams.
That's true. That's the other temperature check. Like I said, if we wait, because we need to for the Davante thing even to be possible, by waiting, you may find out, shoot, we don't need him. Mike Williams is healthy. Lazard kindled that flame with Aaron Rodgers. Malachi Corley is a developing fashion and everything, then maybe we don't. So that's the good news is that you don't have to make this deal today. And by waiting, you'll kind of know where you're at. If the Jets absolutely need him, they're going to realize that, I imagine, 4 to 6 weeks into the season. Plus, the NFL trade deadline was successfully kicked another week. I think the teams wanted it even further, but that was one of the rules that was passed in the conversations this offseason. So it's even further down the line, which should establish the line of teams. It should be clear who are contenders, who are pretenders. So the teams that are selling will be more clear having another week in the books, and vice versa. The teams that are buying, they will know what they need in that situation as well.
Yeah, and I got to tell you this.
Sure.
Don't take this the wrong way.
Oh, that's always a good way to start something. Go ahead.
You like that?
Yeah.
Stop thinking like a Jets fan.
What?
Stop thinking like a Jets fan. You're that little kid from Angels in the Outfield. It could happen. You're Lloyd from Dumb and Dumber. So you're saying there's a chance. Here's my entire point here.
Sure.
Let's say, right, this is stop thinking like a Jets fan, right? If you blow this up, if you get Davante Adams for a 1-year deal and you kick all this other money down the road,
sure. Yeah.
The most realistic scenario. So this is the reality check. I would ring the bell, but I've heard that people don't like that. So
yeah. It's very harsh. This
is the reality check bell. It is likely, I believe it is likely that the Jets make the playoffs this year. I believe it is unlikely that they win the Super Bowl. So if you blow up everything, again, welcome to reality. Pinch yourself, wake up, stop being a Jets fan. Right. It's no team, very few teams. No team has ever, I'll go with this without a fact check. No team has ever gone from the longest playoff drought in professional sports history in the United States to winning the championship in their league. That has never happened. So I would tell you that it is likely they will make the playoffs. And I hope they get to divisional or the championship rounds. However, let's say they do, and let's say Ron goes back into darkness and comes out of it, and he goes, "Hallelujah! I'm going to play another year." However, you've blown up so much money. There's nowhere to move. Davante Adams has to leave, and now you missed it because in reality, it's a progressive thing. You make the playoffs, you build the momentum, and then you win the Super Bowl for the 2025 season. If you blow everything up now, right? Again, please don't act like a Jets fan.
I need to correct your fact check here, pal, because I thought I knew, but I'm like, you know what? Let me double check. Let me do my homework, cite my sources as I'm going to the front of the room. Okay. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers were on a 12+ year playoff drought when suddenly they just made the dance and won the whole thing with Tom freaking Brady, pal. So there was a 12-year gap. How long is the Jets gap? It's currently 12. It's going to be going on to 13.
I believe it's 13 right now.
Well, it was 2011 and it's 2024, and then you got to do the math. Okay,
yeah, you're very bad. You're not a
close, but it's close. Buccaneers 12 years.
So you validated my thank you. You are the fact checker. I was right. No. You're welcome.
Again, I just wanted to let you know.
Acting like a Jets fan, act like a realist.
Okay, and I'm trying to do both. The Jets can win the Super Bowl this year, obviously, and they will win the Super Bowl.
Did you say that like that? Can you say that for me? It could happen.
There's no angels in the outfield necessary here. It's very clear the Jets have a path to win the gosh darn Super Bowl. Okay,
I'm saying
and
it's right going to be. Well, all I'm saying is you can't have a 1 year and all in. It's not everything. It's not roulette. Everything in a 1 in 36 chance. 1 in 32 in the NFL, but roulette is 1 in 36. 1 in 36 chance. All your chips on one thing. I want the Jets to cover 2 spots on the board because I think they're going to make a step. I think they're going to make the playoffs. I'll say it right now. They're going to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
But I think they need to have that other year in the bank. They can't blow it all up. You can go all in, but I think it's a 2-year all in. Don't hobble yourself now. And then in 2025, we're back to 3 and 13. Rich Kotite, I believe.
I'm pushing my chips on a one little number. And then we'll see what happens after that. We'll reassemble. We'll regroup. We'll reassess after that. That's the plan.
Okay.
But appreciate your commentary.
I won't reference your mom dropping you on your head at this point.
Okay. You just did, but all right. God bless. Thanks for giving us a weekend visit. We appreciate that for both days.
All right. Talk to you later. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Love you too. Yeah. See you, pal. Jesus Christ. And then I have all these people that comment saying, all these pro-dad argument. What in God's green earth? All right, let's go to another guy here. What about Hep joining us here on the show? Hep, where do you stand in all this?
Old man Cobb? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, disgusting.
Oh, my God. And Jet, when was the Jets last time they won a Super Bowl? I don't even think we were on the moon yet. Come on, man. I'm in my 60s. I want to see a championship before I'm dead.
Of course you do.
This is ridiculous. Rodgers is going to be another year older. This is the window. This is the time to take it. This is time to go grab the brass ring, man. This is it. You're stacked. If you get Davante, just give us the trophy now.
That's what I'm saying.
That
100%.
Right? Breeze. You got G. Wilson, Davante. You got Corley. Got our tight ends. And then the defense. Come on, man. This is it. This is the window. Push. Let's get the championship. Once we get the championship, we're a championship team. You have a certain caveat. You can bring people in. You're champions. Your other players are a year older, more experienced.
Yes.
There's windows. This is it, man. Let's go get it. What are we afraid of? Don't be afraid. The championship. Go grab it, man.
Mm-hmm.
Love you, Paul.
Love it, pal. Thank you so much. Hep joined us here on the show. And that's it for me. Is there a chance Aaron Rodgers follows through on his words and plays the 2, 3, 4 years? Of course. And I hope he does. What the hell? He could play till 50 as far as I'm concerned. Great. Awesome. But for me, it's now. I don't care. Again, that is my singular focus. I'm not Joe Douglas. Joe Douglas's job is to have a foot in the now and the foot in the future. My both feet are firmly planted in the now. They're right here. I'm looking at the right now. My blinders are on, and the only thing I care about is 2024. How do we improve our chances in 2024 to win the whole gosh darn thing? That's my mindset. And I understand there's other people that like to kind of take a step back and say, hey, but you got to have your shekels over here for 2025. And that's fine. People could be like that. But for me, I'm making it very clear. I am all in on 2024 and what can help us get from point A to point B within reason. Anywho, let's keep going on the conga line here. Let's go to our great friend Ricky New York joining us here on the program. What's up, my tatted brother from another mother?
Hey, what's happening, Paul? You know what? I agree with some of what your dad was saying, like what he was saying about Davante. I completely agree with, because I think Davante is just a pipe dream, and I don't see it happening. And as I'm the same exact age as your dad, and as I was listening to him, I was thinking to myself, you know what? Our generation just really is smarter than all the other ones. But then he started saying, "Don't think like a Jets fan," and I got to tell you, Senior, I have to think like a Jets fan. And I get your point. Are we going to go from all these years of not making the playoffs to suddenly winning a Super Bowl? But you know what? We're the Jets. In the postseason, we do things that people have not done yet, like shutting out Peyton Manning. Nobody had shut out Peyton Manning in a postseason game, 0 points, until we did it.
41-0.
Tom Brady in New England. Nobody went into New England and beat Tom Brady at home until we did it. We do things for the first time because we are the Jets. And so I got to think like a Jets fan. And right now is the time. You know what? Say Corley doesn't develop quite as quickly as we think. I'd like to see Joe D pull off some crazy move, and we'll take that pick from Detroit that we got, and maybe send it to Seattle because they're going to stink, and have Tyler Lockett for a slot for our push to take us.
Okay, I like that move.
Something like that, like something that nobody's expecting, but But yeah, I could see something like that maybe, but this is the year, man. I'm ready.
That's it. We're all ready, baby. I like the Lockett thing. I have not heard that enough, and that's a place in Seattle that's kind of all over the place. They have all those wide receivers with the Ohio State kid, Jackson Smith and Jigba, DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett. They could afford to sacrifice one of their pieces, and Lockett's obviously the older of the group, but someone who, again, if we're talking about what we need right now, Corley is, maybe he develops a lot faster, but maybe he doesn't. And a Lockett guy, learn from Lockett, one of the best slots in the NFL who could still get it done. That to me would be intriguing. I like that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm just kind of putting on my GM hat and throwing it out there, what I would maybe do. So something that's realistic, though.
Yeah.
Ricky,
you're hired.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we're going to grab a Higgins or a Davante or something and be able to throw out 20 something a year. But a guy like Lockett, maybe pick up what's left of his deal, a little restructure or something that JD's good at, and make it fit right in there with our plan. But yeah, something like that. Right, I'm sure JD will think of something. I trust JD. He'll think of something.
Right, Morgan Moses. Who had that on their friggin' bingo card? And if someone would have told me that before, and I'd be like, oh, that'd be phenomenal. Morgan Moses is steady Eddie. He doesn't have to be Tyron Smith, Hall of Famer, All-Pro, and all those other things, but Morgan Moses is just rock solid. So that's one that was not on my bingo card. Holy crap. That's a creative way to solve right tackle that I hadn't even given a thought or considered, and that was great. And that was a JD surprise.
Exactly. And Hassan Reddick wasn't on my bingo card. And there was another slam dunk right there to make up for Huss production. So, yeah, like I said, I trust JD will get it done.
Yeah, I can't wait. Ricky, thanks for calling in, brother.
All right, man. Have a good day.
All right, and we'll have to have it for another video this week, but Jordan Travis was asked yesterday at his rookie minicamp little interview. They said, have you thought about succeeding Aaron Rodgers one day? And he said, yeah. Yes, sir. I've thought about it a lot. I'm like, oh, baby. Okay. If you guys are all these older generation, let's think about the future, multiple years. Okay. If we're thinking about that, Jordan Travis, developmental quarterback, you get this little birdie, you kind of nurture it back to health. It's an injured bird from the outside. You bring it on in, you kind of nurture it, cuddle it, kind of get it back into the process. All of a sudden, booyah, long-term quarterback. Could be. Spicy. All right, let's keep the phone lines going. And we've got our workout extraordinaire, NY Jets FL, joining us here on the program. What's up, brother?
Thanks, Paul. Good morning. Firstly, I think Bobby Woodruff, I think we can convert that guy to be a Jets fan. I really
think
think
you're right.
he's
I think he
close
with how
to.
often he calls in, he's on the precipice. He can be converted. Yes.
Yep. Yeah, I think Bobby's slowly moving to the color green.
Excellent.
Paul, I would love to see the way we're currently constructed as a team, adding the big physical offensive tackle, Moses, big running back. I think we're going to kind of go back to the ground and pound scenario, especially with Rodgers coming off the Achilles. So also the wide receivers like Gibson and Brownlee, last year was a redshirt year. We couldn't protect Zach. Zach was horrendous on top of it. So how do you know what these guys are? So I'm not so quick to want to add a piece. Let's see what we have.
Okay.
And Rodgers can make any receiver better.
That's true.
And you see it with Lazard. Obviously, he was horrendous last year, on top of a bad attitude. But I'd like to see the young kids. I'd really like to see the young kids and see what can Rodgers develop with them, and then the two tight ends. I think we have plenty of weapons right now, currently on paper. I'm not concerned with adding anything yet. That would be my first thought.
And that's fair. And by the way, Breece Hall is someone we don't talk about a lot, but he had the second best receiving season in franchise history for a running back / fullback in history with his 76 catches, and was with horrendous quarterback play. So to think of him as another weapon as well. Plus, I've been seeing a few of the people mention him, all the UDFAs, Jason Brownlee, X, all these younger guys on the roster. Sure, too, they deserve an opportunity, and they are certainly going to get one. So we'll see if they can step up with more consistent quarterback play. Maybe they pop up, because Corey Davis gets removed from the mix. He was the guy who was eating up a lot of training camp reps last year. You saw a bunch of the highlights of Rodgers. So, yeah, maybe the young kids will get their op over the coming months.
They should. Also, hey, Paul, I was watching some film on the undrafted free agent from Michigan, the defensive tackle.
Oh, Brady McGregor. Yes.
Yeah, very interesting. 6'6". He can. I think he's going to be kind of a special. He might be a Michael Clemens takeover position, because he's got a good, decent pass rush. He blocks a lot of. He can clog up the passing lanes too with his height. He blocked a lot of balls. Very athletic, a little raw, very athletic. A kind of project they can develop. Another one, where they can develop him. I think he's got. I'm not going to say he's going to be a starter, but he might be the type to be a backup that can eventually be a starter.
We have some interesting UDFAs. We have LT3, Leonard Taylor III out of Miami, super talented. You have Braden McGregor from Michigan. You have the Watts kid from UConn, who looks really good. Boy, they got a lot of interesting kind of, check with me's on the 90-man roster that are going to be fascinating to go through this process with. I think any one of those guys, maybe multiple, could make the roster potentially.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe more of a reason why they got rid of JFM too. I mean,
perhaps.
Exactly. I don't know. I never see JFM as flat. Like, you see him here and there, but he's not like I don't know if he's not consistent or what it was. He just never, to me, showed up in the big moments. Let's just say that.
And I trust the coaching staff to develop talent. So to be honest with you, if anyone deserves the benefit of the doubt, the people that created Quincy Williams, the people that found Tony Adams, Bryce Huff, and go through the list. Michael Carter II, a day 3 pick that they were able to develop. Again, if anyone deserves the benefit of the doubt, it's them. So if they say, hey, we can move on and create a new JFM, which seems to be the sentiment, then God bless. I trust them to do it.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm with you. I just wanted to say that, Paul. I know you have a lot of calls. Your dad, your dad always has to mention a cowboy in there. I don't know. And what's funny? He talks about, with all due respect, he talks about the Cowboys 5 championships. That was like 20 years ago. I know we haven't won one since 1969, but it's not like the perennial, Super Bowl winning. We're talking about, when I had hair. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
1995. I was 2. Actually, I was less
Right.
than 2 because the Super Bowl was before my birthday. So I was 1.5 when the Jets or the Cowboys, excuse me, were last in the Super Bowl. So yeah,
Yeah,
there's a lot of crap talking happening from Big D over there.
Yeah, I mean, the glory days of Aikman and Emmett and Michael Irvin, they were great, but that's quite a few years ago. So I mean,
Like, think about this.
let's
Think about the full circle moment here. You're talking about, right, the triplets, right, of doing that. We've gone around the block so full that Michael Irvin just got fired from NFL Network.
Oh my
This is his
God, that's funny.
post-playing career gig. So, I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Yep. That's about all I got, Paul. You have a great day.
Appreciate it. NY Jets FL. We got one more caller, and I know if anyone out of all of our callers would be circling the wagons with me on the Davante Adams stuff, there's no question it would be this guy. Let's go to Alan on the road here, baby. Alan.
Hey, what's going on? First of all, I feel so old when you said you were less than 2 years old the last time the Cowboys won the championship. Holy shit. I'm going to be 50 in about 6 weeks, so God bless you.
Yes.
The key number to this whole equation is 54, and that's $54 million in dead cap. So all these guys who want to sign these free agents, that's the number you look at. You have $54 million in dead cap. You know that you're hamstrung. I worry that that JD's a little snake bitten about restructuring contracts based on what happened last year. I mean, you restructured Lawson and Uzama and Whitehead, and they're all gone.
Mm-hmm.
So I understand they want to restructure maybe a Quinnen Williams, but maybe he's hamstrung about restructuring some other guys because maybe next year they're not going to be here. So
yeah, it's a good point. I just want to add this one on the Mike Williams contract because I was looking at it for some other reason. They spread void years into it. We owe him $5.6 million next year, and there's a chance he's not even going to be here. So yeah, dangerous.
I think JD prays every night that his free agent signings in 2024 remain healthy because if they don't, this has a chance to blow up real fast. Because Tyron Smith, Morgan Moses, Mike Williams, if they don't play a majority of games, this team could struggle. And that's where I go back to that second running back picked in round 5 in Isaiah Davis. This is where they needed to go and double down on IOL or on wide receiver. Sometimes you need to look at your roster and know that you need to bring in more players to compete. The idea of drafting 2 running backs in one draft in 2024, I know people are trying to justify that. It just doesn't make sense to me, and it never will. The idea that they did not go and get themselves another interior offensive lineman or get a wide receiver. You see, I mentioned this in the chat, talking about Corley's route running. I would have rather them go and trade 2 fourths and moved up and gotten Roman Wilson and double down there than go and trade back and get a quarterback that you could have gotten maybe in the 7th round. So if this is a win now team, you go get players who can contribute now. So that's where I had the problem with some of these picks on day 3. If you're going to go get a player, you go get a player who can contribute now, like a Roman Wilson, who could be a 3-4 receiver right off the bat.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting to hear. So the Jets doc did reveal that was a player. They wanted him or Corley. Obviously, they wanted Corley more because both were on the board by the time the Jets traded up to 65. But they are very different players. So it was interesting that those were the 2 they decided to highlight. And fascinating for that. So,
I think Roman Wilson in the slot for the Steelers is going to have a really good year. I think that guy could play both inside and outside. He's a guy that I coveted. A guy I think that could contribute right away. And I think a guy that would really have helped the Jets because, again, I think the Jets are 1 wide receiver short. And, again, you can't say with certainty that Mike Williams is going to play 13, 14 games. You don't even know if he's going to start the season. That's a big question mark.
100%, because that lifts that. If he's not ready to go at the beginning of the season, let's say we don't know, but let's say he's not. Alan Lazard goes up on the depth chart. Everyone goes a notch up on the depth chart. Then all of a sudden, again, for everyone that's singing the sweet praise about a wide receiving core, and I get it on paper in Madden, it looks cool. But boy, it certainly takes a different tenor if you start considering some of those other things.
And final point: the more I think about it, the more I see that Michael Clemens will not be a Jet in 2024. I just see so many of these UDFAs competing and overtaking Michael Clemens on the roster, whether it's McGregor or Taylor or Watts. I think Michael Clemens is I know people have called me a cartoon character. He's somewhat of a cartoon character because every time I watch him play, either there's a stupid penalty or he misses an assignment. And to me, I just don't think he's a winning football player. I know he's a menacing force just physically, but a guy I don't count on in a big spot. So I'd rather have one of these UDFAs just overtake him and take him off the roster. So I appreciate everything, Paul. And again, 7:30 in the morning. God bless you. And once again, to all you Knicks fans, go Pacers. Have a good one, man.
I love Alan. Always stirring the pot. That's phenomenal. That series should be getting underway. Actually, let me double check the NBA schedule real quick for you guys. I could tell you when all these games are being played. Let's take a gander there. Let me pull that up. Just get that real quick. What do we got for the? Well, no, we already got the. Let's see. Yeah, sorry for the internet here. Oh, yeah, Timberwolves got that. They started off the second round series last night, beating the Nuggets. Impressive, 106-99. And then let's see what the games we got today. Oh, the only game we got today was the Game 7. So we have Magic Cavs who are going to play the Celtics. So we have that one getting started. And then I think Monday is Pacers Knicks. So there you go. Monday night. That is 7:30 TNT. We'll get that one up for you guys. But I would say on the other thing. So a couple quick things, and we'll get back to the phone lines. Number one, we'll see a Michael Clemens, an incredibly polarizing player. So Joe Caparosa said he believes he will be a surprise cut. There were half the people agreeing, half the people saying you're off your gourd. To me, I'm a Michael Clemens guy. I understand the people that aren't. Joe Douglas also giving a shout out to Michael Clemens as the enforcer replacement for JFM. So the team and staff are really high on Michael Clemens. There are all those intriguing UDFAs, so maybe there's a way Clemens. I don't think it's an absolute lock he's making the roster. We have to see. It's TBD, and those UDFAs are going to have something to say about it, I'm sure. But yeah, the staff loves freaking Michael Clemens. So I'd keep that in mind as well. And also the other thing, I know some people, who is that? Someone was mentioning they don't like the negativity from Alan. There he is. Mother_effing_chew, part of our Boy Green super fan club on YouTube. We appreciate it. So a fifth round interior offense lineman wide receiver would be the difference between struggling and success. What if Brees goes down, Alan? Alan's negativity is soul crushing. Well, it's a good balance. Me and Alan apparently should do a show together. My positivity and his negativity. I don't know what that equation equates to, but we'll have to look into that for certain. But I do love it. It's phenomenal. All right, let's go to the phone lines one more time to the Superstar Show. Oh, maybe multiple. Okay, we're getting a lot more calls in here right now. I'll get to all of them here, but a Superstar Show that had Craig Carton on doing all kinds of stuff. What about the Jets Afterburner podcast joining us here on the program? What's up, brother?
Good morning, Paul. What is going on, man? Just enjoying life, just waiting for this season to come by, and there's so many nuggets. So many, and they're all positive, and they all come with that extra sauce, barbecue, sweet and sour. You just dunk it in and it tastes better and better and better. Last night,
it's good to finally get you on, man. It's been a while,
dude. It has been quite a while. So just chopping it up with you, out of this world, man. Dream come true, man. Early morning, dude. I appreciate everything that you do, morning in, morning out. I don't know how many days a week you do this. You do this 7 days a week. I love
7 days a week. Yeah, for the last year and a half or something like that. Every day. Yep.
You wake me up. That's the thing. I have you on my alarm.
Wow.
Bling, bling, boom. There's Paul. I'm right there. I'm here. Let's go. Let's get it. Jet up.
That's awesome, man. And congrats, by the way, on the Craig Carton interview. That's awesome, man.
I appreciate it, man. And as you know, sometimes, these kind of interviews, they take quite a while to materialize, and this is kind of like a year in the waiting. So I do appreciate that. And that it was a huge bombshell yesterday. What he was saying of the possibility of the Jets moving back to Queens, and it polarized.
I've heard some whispers, so I'm curious to see, when's our pivot point where we're going to hear something. But yeah, there's been a lot of sexy rumors about it, man.
Yeah, I mean, it picked up stream about probably 4 to 6 weeks ago, and it has been polarizing. A lot of Jet fans in Spaces, they're saying there's no way that could happen. They just spent $75 million on their training facility. And I completely understand that narrative. But if you add into the equation of what Craig said yesterday, the fact that Abu Dhabi, they kind of funded the whole entire NYFC to move into Queens, into Flushing, where for the past 25, 30 years, all I've been hearing is there's no room in Queens. There's no room. It's being funded by them. Just to give you a perspective of how much money these people have, Saudi Arabia, Abu Dhabi. That's why when people say, oh, there's no way that Woody Johnson spent so much money out in Florham that he's going to move here. If there's a deal in place, no one knows, even me.
Right.
This is a pure speculation. But let's think outside of American citizenship. Last year, there's a forward for France, soccer. His name is Kylian Mbappe.
Yes.
Check out these stats and offer, and tell me if you wouldn't take it. 1 year, $1.1 billion.
I'd have to sleep on that one, but
if you bring that, let's say Saudi Arabia, Abu Dhabi, this is a money factory for them. So they don't care about your $75 million little practice facility. That to them is like going to the bank and taking out a $500 loan. They don't care.
Yeah.
They come in, they knock on Woody's door and say, you know what, let's make a deal. Let's bring the Jets back. And we'll make it like a three-way. We'll get Steve Cohen from the Mets. There's room in Flushing to bring the Jets back. And if there's that clause there after 2025, to pick up the phone and say, look, New Jersey Giants, we're done. We're done being your tenants, because that's what we have been for the longest, since what, 85, 84, or 86?
Yeah, long time.
Long time, man. We're the New York Jets. We belong in Queens, even in Long Island, close to the city, not Buffalo. I am so sorry. That is more Canadian Football League than anything else for me. That is not. When they say the only New York team in football is the Bills, I'm sorry. That's too far away. That's too far north to me. But I'm excited because there is that rumor, and where there's smoke, there's fire. Believe it or not, maybe this is all banter. Maybe this is all hyperbole. There is a possibility with that. I completely get it. But this is the first time ever in my 40 years of Jets fandom that I ever felt that this is somewhat, there's got to be some sort of validity towards this. And I think the Jets may be coming back, man. It all depends on that 2025.
Opt out. Right. Correct. Yes.
That's it right there. So, but with that being said, I'm stoked for this season. And one of the big ones that I'm really happy about is finally grooming a young kid in Jordan Travis.
The right way. Yes.
They did it. They're doing it the right way because they have no other choice. And that is the beauty of this whole entire thing. They have a quarterback room where they could harbor a young QB, young gunslinger, learning from the best of the best, Hall of Fame quarterback Aaron Rodgers, and also a journeyman in Tyrod Taylor. So we're not expecting this kid to be a savior this season. Maybe next year.
Good.
Because we don't know what Aaron Rodgers is going to do next year after he wins the Super Bowl for us. You know what I mean? Speaking into existence.
I love it. That's beautiful. And that's the thing, right? There's a negative % chance that Jordan Travis is starting quarterback week 1 this year. So, again, it's beautiful that he could be cryogenically frozen down there and hopefully get as much out of it as possible. So, RG3 had a whole shish kebab on the interview about it. You guys could check out that clip. And he truly believes that this is the perfect setup because he gets all the benefits of being around those guys without the danger of having to be thrown out there early. Plus, obviously, he's recovering from a very serious injury. So, I'm excited. I'm rooting for the kid. He seems like a really good kid.
Absolutely. And thankfully, I know it sounds crazy, but thankfully it was just a bone break. I'm actually suffering right now. I have a knee injury right now that I had surgery last Tuesday. Just, going through the whole entire process. As you probably know, I mean, this hits home. You know what I mean? But it's better than ligament damage with Jordan Travis. Once the bone fuses together, you're strong. You're stronger than ever. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think his recovery is going well. Just the mere fact that Robert Saleh said that he may be ready for training camp, that is huge positive signs. And they're probably going to have him on a pitch count, if at all, at preseason games, which I got to be honest, I don't see him playing.
I hope he does, but I don't know if he will. Yeah, to your point, I'm not sure. But like Aaron Rodgers probably won't. And if he does, it's like the same thing as the Giants, where it's a third preseason game. That brings you down to Tyrod Taylor and Jordan Travis. And we'll see. There's a couple other kids. I got Pee Wee Jarrett and a couple other kids in camp right now that are UDFAs. So I'll see what other people they possibly add to the room. They're going to need arms, but I will be curious kind of that process, because everyone wants to see the new shiny toy of Jordan Travis, what he looks like. So it's pretty exciting.
Put the shiny toy away. Like, I got kids. I put all the new ones away. I don't show it to them until it's like 2 years later. And for them, it's brand new.
Yeah,
that's how it has to be for the Jets. The last time that the Jets did it the right way was Chad Pennington. It was the right way. And he learned from Vinny. He learned from Ray Lucas. And then when it was his time to shine against the Kansas City Chiefs, even though we lost, we saw something special. And we knew that was our guy. And, of course, the GM had to mess it up the following year, giving away everything to the Commanders.
Yeah. So we're fingers crossed. Hopefully this time is a lot different, but I'm excited about it. Well, Jets Afterburners podcast, you've been killing it. I saw you had Woody on the show the other day, which was wonderful and awesome, and Craig Card. So you're killing it, man. So love it. Thanks for taking the time, brother.
Thank you so much. And I couldn't be doing it without Liam, man. My good partner, man. He is out of this world. He's been doing it for years, so he kind of got me out of the grave. So I appreciate it. I appreciate you and all the great Jets content creators from here on out. Thank you. Keep slaying it. Keep doing what you're doing.
All right. Appreciate it. There you go. Jets Afterburners as well. We got one more guest joining us, and it's the wonderful and fellow bearded enthusiast. Let's go to Nick Shine, proud NYJ fan, joining us here on the move. What's up, brother?
How are you, sir? Good morning. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, loud and clear.
A little windy out here. I'm getting the township soccer game set up for the little guys today. We got 3 and 4 year olds, and then 5 and 6. So,
wow, that sounds like a doozy.
Yeah, I think just set up the field, pray that nobody gets hurt, and everyone leaves with a smile. It's a good time.
Yeah, no doubt about it. What's on your mind, brother?
I'm ecstatic. I've been saying this on my show, that not a single player that we've drafted has to get the kiss of death. You know what the kiss of death is?
Do tell.
When a Jet fan base labels a player a savior. In an ideal world, our first round pick doesn't have to play. Yeah. In an ideal world, Corley is 5th in targets, maybe 6th. There's nobody on this team. Allen and Davis are behind Breece Hall. Nobody is getting the kiss of death from the fan base. As soon as we do it, Becton's a franchise left tackle. Boom, doesn't play. Barrett Tucker's a franchise right guard. 2 years of injuries. Zach Wilson. I can go on and on. We all can with the names. It has been the kiss of death. I love the concept and the idea of the players eventually are developing first and then telling us over time what their role is going to be, what their label is going to be. We put the carriage before the horse too many times with this fan base, and it ends up with fail after fail after fail. So I'm looking forward to young guys developing, the pipeline that we've dreamt of coming to fruition. And I will say this.
Yes.
I don't agree with Allen a lot, but go Pacers. I agree with that. I agree with that. And he's taking my surprise cut for a couple weeks now has been Clemens as a surprise cut in training camp. That's been my take.
Wow,
but
interesting.
And as somebody,
dude,
as somebody who can hit the turnpike probably with about 3 football throws here in New Jersey, I'm Team New Jersey. It's all fan speculation until you hear politicians and the Jets talking about it and the pitch. It's DreamWorks. Okay. That's all it is.
All right. Well, Nick, good luck with the rest of your soccer setup there. Beautiful. Thanks for calling into the show, brother. Again, we're going to have to reconnect soon.
Absolutely. If I could real quick, tonight, 9 p.m., launch a new show with Uncle Tio VR. He's a popular caller in from Jake, and he's teamed up with me, and we will launch a new show called Sunday Shenanigans tonight at 9 o'clock.
Oh, that's so cool, man. And that's going to be what, every Sunday moving forward?
Sunday night, Proud NYJ Fan on YouTube. And I've been streaming it to Twitter also. But come on over to YouTube, subscribe, have a good time. We'll hang out. We'll talk Jets. We'll laugh, talk sobriety, inspiration, injuries, wherever the conversation goes. I'm ready to take it.
Well, I'm looking forward to that show, man. That's going to be awesome. So can't wait.
We'll connect.
Thanks, brother.
We'll connect. We'll get you on soon. Be good, buddy. Enjoy your day.
Yeah, there he is. Nick Shine joining us here on the program and promoting his new podcast tonight. So make sure you guys go check it out. Again, our Proud NYJ fan. Thank you to the 800 people that are live here in the room watching this show, plus wherever else everyone else is watching, either after the fact or on one of the different platforms. Make sure you guys like the video, hit subscribe. We are live every single day at 7:30 in the morning. Plus, we do some extra shows. We had RG3 on this past week, a random afternoon show. We do our Woody show, which is every Tuesday and Thursday at 3 o'clock. So we're cranking the content. Make sure you guys show your support. We appreciate you. And we'll be back again tomorrow morning with some more New York Jets insights. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Take care.